Normally, when you lose your starting center for the season, your season is lost. You're oftentimes not a competitive team, and even if you are, you have thoughts about what happens when you get to the postseason. Who's going to help you then? But if you have a backup named Isaiah Hartenstein, maybe you'd rethink that because Hartenstein right now is playing like a starting caliber center, and we can't hide him anymore. All the other teams around the association are taking notice of his play, how impactful he is, and what he's doing for this Knicks team. And because of that, he is playing himself right out of New York City. We're going to break down this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Isaiah Hartenstein is playing himself right out of New York City. And you know what? Before he was even starting, when he was coming off the bench and we had Mitchell Robinson starting, I thought he was playing himself out of New York then because he was looking like one of the best backup bigs in the entire league. And when you play like that and you look that good, other teams around the league are going to think, you know what? He looks good as a backup, but he probably could start. He was already getting that type of admiration before he was actually starting for the New York Knicks. But now that he's actually starting and doing everything we've seen him do for the Knicks, his value has skyrocketed. He's become more attractive. He's in a contract year, mind you, and he is playing himself, in my opinion, right out of New York City because he's playing so good that I think he's going to get such a large contract from another team. And even if the Knicks can match it and add him to the roster again, would you want them to do that when they're going star hunting again this offseason, looking to add another piece to this roster? But not only that, you have Mitchell Robinson. And I understand Isaiah Hartenstein does help the offense a little bit more than Mitchell Robinson does. But ask yourself, who's the more Thibodeau player, Hartenstein or Robinson? I think if you admit it to yourself and you're honest, you know it's Mitchell Robinson. And by the way, I'm not the only person who thinks that Isaiah Hartenstein is playing himself out of New York City. My guy, NBA insider Steph Bondy for the New York Post, also feels a similar way as well too. Earlier in this article, Steph Bondy actually referred to Hartenstein as playing himself out of New York, and he stated the following about him. Hartenstein, who has been thrust into a larger role since Mitchell Robinson underwent ankle surgery in December, reiterated that he hopes his contract allows him to remain with the New York Knicks. Yeah, it's great timing. I can't lie about that. But at the end of the day, I love it here in New York. The plan would be to stay, but at the end of the day, you can't predict what's going to happen. So you have to just go by a game-to-game basis. But I love New York. I love the fans, and I think it's something special. And I love winning. I think that's the biggest thing. The Knicks, who signed Hartenstein to a 2-year deal worth $16 million via free agency in 2022, own his early bird rights, meaning they can exceed the salary cap to resign him. Hartenstein continues by stating, I feel like in the past, I've had times where I've played like this, but I don't think it was ever consistent to a 2-month span. I guess I'm just proving that I can be a starter in the NBA. I think I've done that. And us winning is a part of that. I feel like you can be a starter, you can have great stats on a losing team, but it doesn't really mean much. So just being in that starting role and playing heavy minutes on a winning team, I think that says a lot. Oh, it does say a lot. It says that you're playing yourself out of New York City. I love Isaiah Hartenstein. I love his impact. I love what he's been doing for the New York Knicks. If I have to remind you guys, maybe you guys have been watching all the New York Knicks games, but let me go ahead and give you a little bit of information here. A stat, if you will. Isaiah Hartenstein this season has been elite on the glass, averaging an absurd 26.3 rebound chances over his last 3 games. That tops the NBA. That's the level of play that Isaiah Hartenstein is giving you after Mitchell Robinson goes down. Who could have ever predicted this? I knew Hartenstein was good, especially coming into this season. After he turned it around last season, I knew he was going to come into this season stronger than ever before. I just did not expect this. Nobody expected Mitchell Robinson to go down either. But when he went down with injury, had that ankle surgery, I can't lie. I thought our season was going to go in a very bad direction because at the time, Mitchell Robinson was so good, so dominant, was looking like a defensive player of the year candidate before he went down. As soon as he goes down, everybody in the New York Knicks organization, community probably, just gasps because you don't want to see injury happen to any NBA player, let alone a player on your own roster that means so much to the roster. Mitchell Robinson and his impact cannot be understated. The way he creates fear in opposing players, how he blocks shots, gets rebounds like nobody else's business. That was something that we were going to miss. We didn't know Isaiah Hartenstein had that in his bag. And then you fast forward to today. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the game. I'm talking about Isaiah Hartenstein. And that's saying something when you are replacing the best offensive rebounder in terms of percentage in Mitchell Robinson. That doesn't happen. That oftentimes rarely happens. The fact that Hartenstein was able to step in and do this and create even better of an impact that we didn't expect to see, make even more of an impact on offense that not even Mitchell Robinson is able to do. I think I speak for everybody when I say Hartenstein's play has not only been surprising, but very impactful. It's led the team to winning, as he stated, and he mentioned something very key. You could be a starter on any team, even losing teams, and put up great stats. But if it doesn't lead to winning, are you really helping a cause? Are you really helping to contribute? Because I don't think so. But if you're on the team, you're playing significant minutes, and the team is winning consistently, and in some cases, you're dominating teams, dominating them on the boards. When you put all of that together, you get a starting caliber center. You get Isaiah Hartenstein. You get a player that is playing so well that the New York Knicks, even though they want him, even though Isaiah Hartenstein himself stated that he wants to remain in New York, that he likes it here, he loves the fans, he loves the atmosphere, and he loves playing here. Even though all of that is the case, it's a business at the end of the day. And even though a lot of us want to retain him, we cannot keep two centers who are starting caliber making around the same amount of money, because I think that's the type of contract that Isaiah Hartenstein is going to command. A similar contract to Mitch, maybe even just a little bit more expensive given the fact that the cap is rising just a little bit coming up to this year. So I think all of that is on the table for Hartenstein. But that also means that him leaving New York is also on the table. Because let's face it, New York has an agenda. They have a plan. They kept all of their first round picks after making all of these trades. They have an agenda to make a superstar or all-star trade this offseason. They're going to look for that disgruntled star and they're going to target him, especially if that star is a player that they've always coveted. So they're going to keep their eyes open and on a lot of the players that potentially could have a losing season this year if their team doesn't do what they need to do come the postseason. And that's when the New York Knicks are going to pounce and throw all of their first round picks, a couple of these impactful players, and definitely be on the phone with a number of teams looking to make that trade that we've all been waiting for. Because even though the Knicks look good now, imagine how much better they can look once they make that star trade that they've been telling everybody, and all the reports have indicated that they're likely going to make and try to make a very big run for this offseason. It's going to be something to watch, in my opinion. I just hope Isaiah Hartenstein is still part of the roster once we do that. But if you're asking me if I'm a betting man on the situation, I would bet that Isaiah Hartenstein after this season is no longer a New York Knick, because he's not going to take a pay cut, nor should he have to, and he's playing too well to be able to do that. Other teams around the association, around the league, around the NBA, they're looking at him. They're looking at the Knicks. It's hard not to when the Knicks are tied for third in the East right now. So everybody has their eyes on the New York Knicks, one of the best teams in the league. And you're obviously going to put your eyes on Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and then IHart. And then when you look at IHart, you see what he can do. You see his size, how he helps to pass, how he helps to facilitate, how he helps inside the paint in terms of passing the ball or scoring. You're going to think to yourself, I want that guy on my roster. He's coming up for free agency. Oh yeah, I'm going to pay him a lot more than the Knicks are going to pay him, and I'm going to steal him away. I'm thinking that's what a lot of other teams right now are considering, because the Knicks are not the only team that need these type of defenders on the roster. Other teams need these guys too. Hartenstein's playing himself into a large contract, and I don't think the New York Knicks are going to be able to match it. And even if they can, I don't know if they'll want to. Mitchell Robinson clearly has the better contract as well too. It's a descending contract. You likely want to keep that on your books versus somebody else who might not have that same type of deal. And even if they do, they'll likely be making more than Robinson on a year-to-year basis. So we have to keep all of that stuff in mind. IHart has been a phenomenal piece for this Knicks team this year. He's one of the main reasons the Knicks look so good and we've been winning so many games. I don't want to say goodbye. Trust me. I think a lot of you guys don't want to say goodbye either. But come this offseason, you're going to say goodbye because we cannot afford to pay him and Mitchell Robinson. But what about you guys? Do you agree with me? Do you think Isaiah Hartenstein is playing himself due to his strong and impactful play with New York out of the New York Knicks organization? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.